All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Tidus Talk episode. I believe it's number 7, uh, with special guest today, Purpleroni. How are you doing, Purple?
Yeah, what's going on, Tidus? Doing good, man. Going good.
Good to
First
hear.
time doing this kind of thing, so a little excited, a little
Oh,
nervous.
you'll be great. Don't worry about it. Uh,
Bless you.
so today, every week, we will go ahead and interview Perp. Get some questions in there. If anybody who's here in the chat has any questions for him, feel free to shout it out, and we'll get that read out if we find it pertinent. We'll go over gaming news and the special topic of the day that he's chosen is horror movies, so that should be interesting. I don't have a ton of experience, at least not with newer ones, some with older ones, so I don't. We'll see what
Oh,
kind of
mate.
input I can get in there for it. Uh,
That's all good, man. I'm all about the older horror films anyway, so we'll match up.
cool. In that case, new to the podcast, which I decided to start adding, is I'll let you guys know how I came across Purple, what I like about his streams and stuff like that before we move on to his introduction. So, I met Purple to the lovely Sugar Mama McNasty. She went and raided Purple probably a good 2 months ago or so, maybe even a little bit longer, while
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there. And yep, shout out to Sugar. She's awesome. Uh,
Hi, sugar.
she's probably not here, but
Shh.
anyway.
I just say hello. But
I
it's
know,
fine.
just and yeah, just your energy is amazing. I special shout out to I love your sellout perp.
Oh, don't get him started.
No, if it wasn't so on the spot, I'd be like, do it right now. But I just want to say I love that little segment. So don't ever be afraid to do it. It's awesome.
No,
Uh,
it's a bit of a gag now that I get really cringy about doing it. It's part of the whole shtick. It leads up to the good part of it, so it's become part of the ethos of my stream now.
yeah, and like I said, it's just a fun little thing, and I don't think I mean it gets the message across, but also being silly about it. So. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
Which is what you want to do.
and then you're really honest. There was the other day where somebody asked you not to talk about something. You're like, it's my stream. I'll talk what I want about it. And
Yeah, that was a very nice way of putting what I said. But
right.
yeah,
So yeah, just I mean, I'd make it a point to hop in your stream, even if I can't interact all day because I'm at work. I'd make it a point to lurk every day. So you become a
oh man,
daily
yeah.
occurrence for me during the week.
I
Uh,
appreciate that, man. I'm honoured.
so yeah,
That's really nice.
Perp, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Yeah, Purpleroni, Twitch broadcaster, predominantly playing Pokemon right now, but I am going back to my roots, which is Skyrim and open world kind of games, Fallout, Dragon Age kind of stuff like that. Going back to the roots kind of on a few days now. Started streaming back in 2014 when I first found Twitch. I saw a person called Dan's Gaming doing his horror month, but this was on a older thing because I joined in February, so I've been watching it since 2013, and then 2014 later that year, I decided to give it a go because I have crippling, nearly crippling social anxiety. I've got a lot better since, but the anxiety's still there. But that was my original purpose, was to put myself out there in front of a faceless online audience to overcome anxiety issues, confidence issues, and to a degree, on the online front, it's worked phenomenally. Real life, I'm a hermit, so it's got worse. But yeah, that's about it for my Twitch stuff. I'm a Virgo, and if you think that matters, you're a little bit silly. Uh,
I agree.
I mean, I have no problem with people who are into that kind of stuff. I just think it's a little bit silly
No,
to be into that kind of.
as long as they know it's silly, then
Yeah,
have fun
yeah,
with it. Have fun with it.
yeah, exactly. Graduated with a bachelor's degree in science with honors in digital media productions, making films. Uh, I've used that to my advantage doing Twitch streams, but unfortunately, I was an average student, so I'm not got an out of mind camera shots and stuff like that. I have a little bit of 3D modeling experience and a little bit of script writing experience, which I use for my subscriber stories, which is a very unique perk that I borrowed off another streamer called Call of Cthulhu, who is a amazing character streamer. You should all go check him out. He's absolutely top, one of the top people on Twitch, I think, even if he's not the most popular. He is a gold standard on how to conduct yourself.
Hmm. I'll have to give him a look.
Anything else I can add to that, really? This isn't a wig. This is my actual hair. Same with my beard. It took me over 10 years to do this. The trick to it, a lot of people ask me how I got this hair, I've got this beard. Trick to it is to give up and stop caring. If you also put Marmite into your chin and just massage it in, that will either stunt your growth or excel your growth, depending on your personal preference of Marmite.
Huh. Interesting. Twitch name. Where did the Twitch name come about?
Right. Basically, Purpleroni was a old Vimto mascot. If you don't know what Vimto is a fizzy drink in the UK. And the mascot in the late 1990s, early 2000s was a pseudo stick figure, because it was a stick figure, but he had a pot belly, called Purpleroni, spelled with 2 N's, an I, and an E. And I have a command on my channel where you can see my favourite advert of it, which kind of brought it about. But I used to always drink Vimto as a child. In primary school, I used to drink Vimto all the time. And I had my hair dyed purple sometimes. It weren't dyed, it was sprayed, but I quite liked having my hair sprayed purple. So the other kids just started calling me Purpleroni, and that stuck for nearly 20 years now, 20 or so odd years. But I had to get rid of the second N and the E, just for safety reasons of copyright.
Yeah.
It's not from pepperoni. I want to point that out.
We're all, I was telling you beforehand, we're all kind of guilty of that, but I'm glad you can set us straight.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Oh, yeah. Big up the Vimto, man. Big up the Vimto.
Gaming, is that something you've been doing all your life? Is that more of a recent thing?
I got into gaming in the 1998, it'd be, properly, when I first got my copy of Pokemon Blue. That was my first ever game I owned myself. Before that, I would just watch my siblings play, my cousins play at my nan's house on I think it was a GameCube. It might have been a Sega. I honestly couldn't recall, but they were playing games on that, and I wanted my own games. And then I got Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red, Mario, and Alleyway on Game Boy. This would be Game Boy Color at the time, and it's just shot off from there. Got a PlayStation 1 a few years later, blessed out. Final Fantasy, Theme Park World, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, and it's just my love of it just grew and grew and grew from then.
Nice.
And now I'm a little bit bitter about the gaming as a whole.
Smart TV Gaming said big up to Vimto because he's in the UK as well.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. Next, what are your favorite games, genres, and consoles?
Oh, favorite console, PlayStation 2 or the Fatbit PS3, because you can backwards compatibility play all the PlayStation 2 games and all the PlayStation 1 games.
Right.
And in my opinion, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games are where it's at. Like I said before, the Theme Park World, Dynasty Warriors, Metal Gear Solid, Oblivion on some PS3, but if the Fatbit PS3 counts, Champions of Norath, Resident Evil series. There's just so many amazing games on those consoles. Favorite genre, I'm a big fan of open world, especially Bethesda games, open world, do what you like kind of games.
Right.
I really liked GTA San Andreas for that reason as well. The Witcher series, not so much. I've actually not played Witcher 3 yet. I've got it. I've not played it. I'm a bit of a perfectionist about it. I need to play 1, then 2, and then I'll play 3. Because I'm an idiot.
No, I can. I'm sure there's bits of stories you'd miss if you went and did that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I want to get behind everything. I want to get behind everything with it. I'll eventually get around to it. I just need to get over myself, because when I play The Witcher 1, I have to collect all the sex cards, and I can't do that, and it annoys me furiously that I rage quit.
Why can't you do that?
I think it's I don't know when you get them or how to get them half the time, and the other time I think sometimes you can't get access to them, and it so frustrates me so much that I can't do it.
Smart TV Gaming is hyperventilating. He just came off of Witcher 3 and all the DLC, so he I know he loves it.
Fair play, man. It looks amazing, and everyone's raving about it. I don't think I've heard anyone talk bad about it. I'll get around to it at some point. I've got all the DLC for it as well, thanks to Humble Bundle. Big shouts to Humble Bundle.
Yeah, it's all a matter of time. There's not enough hours in the day.
No, exactly. No, I'll definitely check it out.
All right, some of your fondest gaming memories.
Fondest gaming memories. Oh, dude.
Yeah, he did not want the questions beforehand, so these are all questions he wasn't sure were coming.
He's off the cuff. I can go via some consoles if you'd like, because I've got a few.
Sure.
Game Boy, obviously playing Pokemon Blue for the first time. It's not really a game of the gaming moment, but I put it in the wrong way at first. And I nearly broke the game and my Game Boy because I tried to force it in the wrong way.
Ooh.
So that's I've always enjoyed that memory. Then Theme Park World, I'd always remember earning 4 golden tickets for the first time. You have to get tickets in the game, and if you get 4, you can buy a first-person camera to go visit inside your park as a customer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Rides. Yeah, it's really fun. I've still got it on PlayStation 1 to this day. I would love to play it again. And I just remember feeling so much enjoyment going around my own theme park, and it's just so different to me. And I think I'll do one final one, which is, I think a lot of people will say this, but the first time I played Oblivion, that was such a eye-opener to what gaming could be for me, and that's obviously what awoken up my infatuation with proper open world, do it yourself, do what you want, that character customization.
Right.
It's nothing to tell you. I can still remember vividly what I felt the first time as I opened the sewers to go out into Tamriel. Or is it Cyrodiil? It's Cyrodiil. Tamriel's the continent. But when I came out of Cyrodiil for the first time, and sort of looked around and saw just how giant it was at my map and stuff, I didn't even know fast travel was a thing until 2 weeks later. So I was walking around everywhere.
But that means you got to see the sights.
Exactly. Honestly, it was phenomenal, and I wish I could go back to those days, just recapture that myself. I still play Oblivion sometimes. A little bit of mods every now and then. I used to do a thing called Oblivion October, where I used to play it for at least half of the month of October, just Oblivion, all day, every day. Well, not all day, every day, but all the time I was streaming.
So what are your feelings, just as a quick aside, since you Cyberpunk 2077? Does that interest you at all?
I love the promise that Cyberpunk has. Not Cyberpunk 2077 as a game, but like Cyberpunk as a whole has so much intrigue and interest to me. And when I looked at Cyberpunk 2077, it looks really good, but I do have to see non-promotional gameplay in my opinion, and I need to see how good their character customization is. I know they've been getting a lot of crap with putting stuff like the transgender posters and stuff like that, and I don't think it's very warranted. I think they're trying to. Cyberpunk is itself a very inclusive genre. It's body modifications and it's futuristic tech and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really need to be utilized in that manner. But I look forward to playing it. And I hope, touch wood, it's as good as these fabled Witcher games.
Fabled. So what drew you to streaming, and how long have you been doing it?
Oh, you cut out a bit, mate.
Oh, how about now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. How long have you been doing it, and how long?
Yeah, what drew you to streaming? How long have you been doing it? Which you kind of already answered part of it.
Yeah, like I remember searching around the internet, looking at YouTube videos and stuff like that, and then I can't remember whose YouTube video it was. They said check him out on. I think at this point it was Twitch TV at this point, and from there I clicked on that link and looked around the site, and then I came across Dan's Gaming, and I just remember his horror marathon stuff, and a few months later I thought, I go back on this site a few times, I'll sign up for it, and just kept on browsing people. I used to be really big into watching, I don't know what they were called back then. There's a bunch of Minecrafters. There was Sevidus, Deathridge, Eddie Ruckus, Giant Waffle, Bacon Donut, and there was a big collective of Minecraft streamers, and I used to just watch them. And after a while, I thought, you know what, I can play Minecraft. I've really got to start getting over myself and my social anxiety and stuff. You have to talk on this platform.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? So that's literally, and then I dragged my friend, my best friend El Prentice, to just be with me for the first few streams, because I wouldn't be able to do it else. So if you can watch through my earlier streams, or if you heard my earlier clips, I was on a £200 laptop with a £10 mic. It was awful, but I've still got some of the clips. I've deleted them just because of safety concerns, but I still have them. I still play them sometimes. It's hilarious, and yeah, from then I just grew and grew, both stream wise, as a person, and hopefully as a content creator.
So, what do you like best about streaming?
That's a good question. I think there's two things that properly stand out for streaming, and obviously one of them is the community. The social aspect of streaming is phenomenal. I think it's such a good way, especially in today's day and age, where we are getting more and more isolated as a people. We are retreating back into internet, back into technology, and we are becoming more and more alone than we've ever been. And I feel like Twitch is a good facilitator to not feel that void, and being a person who can kind of broadcast and not have to, and be one of those places where you can come in and have a chat. And with my stream, you can have a chat honestly and openly, no matter what the topic is. As long as we can have a civil discussion about it, you can have it here. And I find that truly heartwarming, that people resonate with that message from all walks of life. Like, the community that I've built is extremely inclusive. We have people from the LGBT, we have people who are all over the world, all different ethnicities, religions, stuff like that, who can all have a dialogue about the horrors of the political climate and stuff like that, should we need to. And
right.
Then 5 minutes later we could be talking about fisting a donkey in Tibet. It's ridiculous. But the second part, I'd have to enjoy and this is I think a few streams can agree to this. It's just the challenge of trying to create your own brand and ethos. I really enjoy trying to come up with new things for the stream, and trying to adapt and create my own little niche, whether it be branding with my Scullies now. I have a mascot who's a skeleton Viking, and that came about naturally due to me playing Fallout 3 and just carrying a skull around, and it just built up naturally from there. Or to the most recent thing with this massive Pokemon multi-marathon event I've tried to get started.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that later in the stream.
Yeah, I'm all down for that, mate. But yeah, that's my two things: the outreach and talking to the community, and having proper, honest and open discussions, and the challenges of adapting, overcoming, and persisting to be a streamer.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much every streamer can, except for the ones that are strictly in it, like, I'm going to be like the ninja streamer and I'm going to make millions. It's like, if you're coming in with those expectations without working hard for like a decade.
Yeah, exactly. More power to them, though, if that's what
they want, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it works. Maybe they find it amazing for them. Good for you. You're very, very lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
But more power to you, man.
All right. What about hobbies and interests outside of gaming?
I'm a massive reader, whether it be fantasy fiction or manga or hentai. But I'm a massive reader. That I've got a massive bookshelf full of novels from Brandon Sanderson, George R. R. Martin, Douglas Hubick, Mark Lawrence, all different kinds of splices of life with that. And then manga wise, just everything from Remonster and One Punch Man to Berserk, which is just a grand opus of a beast, that is. Apart from gaming and reading, do a bit of writing. at the minute, not much writing personally because I'm too busy doing subscriber stories. Thanks, community. I appreciate
Well,
that.
why don't you explain what subscriber stories are?
Yeah, so when somebody subscribes for the first time, or if they renew their sub at tier 2 or tier 3, I write a short fantasy story from them, which is a story about themselves with 2 or so items that they want to include. So it could be anything from a cat with a tulip, or the color blue and seafood. It could be any 2 things they want to incorporate. And what I do is tier 1, I do a short 300 or so words. I tend to go over nowadays just because it fits well with the mesh. Tier 2 is 500, tier 3 is 1,000. And I just upload it to a personal website called the purpleroni.com, wordpress.com/purpleroni, whatever the WordPress site is. It's on my channel. I can always link it in. And yeah, it's something I got from Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu does something similar, where he has a Necronomicon, where if you subscribe, he will tell a Lovecraftian yarn in his own mannerism, because he's very, very articulate and well-spoken individual, very, very in-depth about horror, especially Lovecraftian horror. His character persona is a Relayan priest, so from that, I kind of took the concept, adapted it to my own, and it's become its own little beast now. Okay. And it's one of my most unique selling points, I'd say, as a streamer.
It's awesome. I'm a fan of the story you wrote for me, which I think, what was it? There's a Buster Sword, and I can't remember the second thing, honestly.
Oh, good lord, Buster Sword. I mean, I'll probably have it written down somewhere.
I mean, it's no big deal. The fact that you do that takes time, it takes effort, shows, how much, the community means to you. I think it's awesome.
The only problem I have with it, mate, is if I ever expand and grow, it's going to get a lot of my time and efforts put into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Already a lot of time doing it in the first place, so I might need to come up with a better solution down the line. But for now, it's working out splendidly.
Definitely. And I forgot to say it earlier when I said like things about your streams. I think it's tier 3 people for you. When they come into the stream, it automatically like hits audio. Is that right? Like there's an audio.
Yeah.
I love that.
So if you're, it's a nice little thing. Again, there's a few streamers who do that. Call of Cthulhu does that as well. There's a few people, a bunch of Pokemon streamers now do that too. For tier 2, tier 3, I tend to allow that to happen. It could be a sound effect or a quote of a movie. We have movie quotes, we have sounds, we have songs. And I try and go for up to 20 seconds at the most, because after that I think it kind of distracts from the stream too much.
Right.
But I feel like the people who do tier 2, tier 3, a lot of the time when they do tier 2, tier 3, they do it for the intro.
Right.
Oh. As well as the amazing tier 2 emote, which we are now changing to tier 3. And getting a new one in. So.
Gotcha. All right. So I think last but not least, where can people find you?
Find me. Oh, I've got Twitch, Purpleroni. You can actually see it down there, twitch.tv.purpleroni. And then we have Twitter and Instagram are at Purpleroni616. If you're on my Twitter feed, it's just pretty much me going live and sometimes having a little rant. Sometimes I'll have a little go at Peter or something like that. And then on Instagram, don't check out my Instagram. It's bad. It's mainly pictures of me staring at a camera, trying to be edgy, or putting memes on, like me just putting my foot in a toilet bowl and stuff like that. It's silly.
Nothing wrong with that. Silly's fine. But I definitely suggest going to follow Purple, at least on Twitch. He's a very fun person to watch. He has I believe a 5,000 goal by the end of the year. Is that right?
4,000.
4,000. Sorry, 4,000.
Yeah.
You're easily gonna hit it, by the way. Like that's not gonna be a problem. So.
I hope so, mate. I hope so.
Yeah, definitely go check him out if you haven't already. And I think the last thing I got on here is, so what are some of the upcoming games you're looking forward to playing?
Oh, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, should it ever come out. I'm looking forward to playing that. Obviously, there's a new Pokemon games coming out, Sword and Shield. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to playing them. I'm going to be playing them, and I'm hoping they're going to defy my expectations. And obviously Cyberpunk 2077 when that comes out. I was a little bit curious about Shenmue 3, but after the way they've treated their fans, I'm not going to be playing that game.
Oh, I don't know what they did then at that point.
Well, Shenmue 3, when they announced they did a Kickstarter.
Right, they did that at the Sony conference. They announced that.
Yes, yeah, and people who pay for it, they got promised a Steam key.
Oh yeah, and they went Epic, right?
And they are refusing to do refunds. I think Epic are footing the bill now, but yeah, they refuse to do refunds, which is just nasty, in my opinion. They haven't really. I get the try and style. They're going for the same old style from the PlayStation era with the Shenmue 2, but the graphics aren't too much updated. The DLC they've promised people is not adequate in my mind, and they gave the beta testing to random people at the conferences instead of the people who backed their Kickstarter at those tiers. And I just find that very, very sad, really. And I think a lot of games studios are becoming a little kind of sad lately, whether it be the surprise mechanics, the fucking loot boxes. Excuse my language, but they are fucking loot boxes. All right, and it's just stuff like that. It's kind of, it makes me sad that the games industry's become like that.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I had never played the first two, so I did hear about the exclusivity. I didn't know there was a big deal about it because I had heard Epic was the one offering the refunds. I didn't hear anything about the Shenmue people refusing to do them. So
there was emails going around from them personally saying we do not plan on doing any refunds at this time, and then I think Epic kind of stepped in and like, they will do refunds.
Gotcha.
Which is the least I could bloody do.
All right, then. I think that's it for that. So let me actually get my stuff in gear and move on to the next topic, which is, or the next section. Nope, that's not it. Playing. So what are you playing now? Are you playing any, besides, I know you're playing a bunch of different Pokemon Shiny Honey on stream. You started playing, what was it, Oblivion again?
It was Skyrim.
Skyrim
the other day, yeah.
Do you play anything off stream that's not those, or is that pretty much all you're playing?
Oh, you've cut out again, mate.
Oh, how about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think I got the gist of what you said. Anything you're playing off stream, right?
Yeah, or, I mean, in general, that's not one of those.
Yeah. Obviously, the Pokemon games are a big thing. In I'm doing a bit of Skyrim off stream for a YouTube series where I'm doing an immersion playthrough, which I am doing. I am going to do that. Apart from that, I've been playing Bladestorm, 100 Years War, but that's not really a very well known. It's like Dynasty Warriors, but set in the 100-year war period between France and England, 1330s to 1450s or something like that. And it's just a nice. I think it's a lovely game, but the port is terrible. But I'm playing it. That's about it. Yeah, I think most of my time at the minute is spent doing these subscriber stories, networking, and organising this event. To be completely honest.
Real quick, we have a question from Smart TV Gaming that says, "Any advice you would give for streamers to avoid from getting burnt out of streaming or from streaming?"
I mean, I've experienced burnout several times streaming. You kind of do that. I mean, I'm streaming most days at the minute, and I'm not getting any burnout recently, but it could happen very likely. As a streamer, you will occur at some point burnout. That is inevitable, unless of course you're doing the new age style of it, which is to do 3 or 4 streams a week now, instead of doing 1 a day. You do 3 or 4, and I say to avoid it, you need to make sure you have other things you are enjoying in your personal downtime. You know, whether it be other hobbies or socializing. You especially need to socialize at some point. I know streaming takes up a lot of time and effort and energy, but you do need to socialize outside of that. I'm terrible for that.
I was about to say, coming from Purple.
Yeah, I just talk to people, you know, in the fellow Pokemon community, stuff like that. That's my interaction outside of streaming. But to avoid getting the proper burnout, I'd say maybe take a few days off to recuperate and reevaluate. At that point, after like the 2nd or 3rd day, you'll either realize maybe this isn't actually for me, or you'll want to start, which is what I did, start coming back and be like, right, when I come back, I want to do little things like this and little things like this to change it up a bit. So when I come back, it's fresh, and you end up getting a few more ideas, which is a really good thing. So burnout can be a really good process to go through. It could be an excruciatingly painful one at times when you now have a few hours spare in your day to do whatever you could come up with. I'd say replace it with reading a book or something, just to keep yourself in the mindset of, at this point, you are doing some entertainment. That's what I used to do. I used to read a bit of books during those times. Also, keep an eye on the Twitch climate, the YouTube climate, whatever you're streaming on, Mixer, DLive. Keep an eye on your platform. If you are intending to come back, or you are not sure about coming back, keep an eye on those things. Keep an eye up to date with the current culture around those things. That's really important as well, just in case you come back and you have nothing to talk about.
Nice. I don't have a lot to add because it's hard for me, I think, to experience burnout because I don't get to stream. I get to stream 5 days a week, but I'm only doing like 3-hour sessions because most nights if I want to stream, I'm cutting out sleep. So I don't stream for too long. It's 10 p.m. to like 1 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m. some nights, and then I'm going on 4 hours of sleep for a couple days. So I don't get to do it as much as I'd like, so I don't think I experienced the burnout. But I would say maybe even changing it up. Some people only stream one thing, and that's all they do. And sometimes switching it up, I find that doing the podcasting here, doing Jackbox Party Night on Fridays, kind of breaks up from the gameplay of the rest of the week and helps as well.
Oh, 100%. It's also really good to kind of just understand when you stream. Like I said, some people are doing the 3 days a week now, and that's just to obviously balance their own personal life. And I think more people who are following that stream, because you have 2 lines of thought: you stream every day, you're on the grind, you get your community built up. But the new age one is, you do 3 days, 4 days at a push, and the other days you're working on your networking, you're working on your downtime and personal life. And I think because you have that balance, you don't experience it as much.
Right.
And I think that's a really healthy alternative and style to do it. I personally don't do it because I'm an idiot. But I definitely recommend checking out channels that advocate that style. You can also find a lot of, because the people who kind of advocate for that also tend to do a few things like stream help with how to go about broadcasting and how to go about yourself on social media, stuff like that. People like Ashley Christ, Wild for Games, Alpha Gaming. These are a solid bunch of people who can really help younger streamers and older streamers as well about coming to terms with a few of their communities and their broadcasts.
Cool. Boo says, how do you decide what games to play?
I have a game I want to play, and I play it.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not really. You see a game, you see a trailer, you hear some news about it, sounds interesting, so you decide to play. Now, do you mean specifically on stream, Boo, or do you mean in general? Because that's different.
I'm gonna assume you mean stream wise. Stream wise, it's the same thing. If I want to play a game, I'll play it. However, I am very much aware and self-aware of the fact that I am predominantly a Pokemon streamer now. But I don't get the burnout from Pokemon. I enjoy doing Pokemon streams. And like I said, I do get a little bit of a break when I do stuff like Skyrim and stuff like that, which is games I can, fall into instead of having to do resets every now and then. But yeah, I think don't overthink about it too much. You want a game to play, you play it. The question kind of dictates a bit more if you want to play Fortnite or you want to play League of Legends, and they're very, very saturated games, and you're a newer streamer and you want to play those. Maybe at that point you want to kind of, what games are lower down in the list that I still want to play and I can enjoy playing, and maybe start building my community up from those games instead. So I think it comes in 2 parts with that, really. If you want to play a game, you play it, but if you want to grow on Twitch, make sure you choose a game you can enjoy and engross yourself into that maybe doesn't have as much of a viewer base at the current time. For example, Pokemon. Pokemon's a perfect example right now.
Yeah. Nico says, is it true when streaming your stream games that most people don't stream to get a bigger community?
Is it true you stream games that most people don't stream to get a big community? Yeah, that's. I think that's a kind of a global kind of acceptance. You start streaming out. I start streaming with Minecraft, which is what I don't recommend doing that. I recommend streaming stuff. I started getting bigger and more popular when I started playing Gary's Mod or Fallout 3. Those are the games that kind of really facilitated me for a while. And those are games low down in the list, so people who are like about 300 people at a time. So you could always be seen. Is the important part. You could always be seen in these categories. And if you stream to those categories where you can be seen, you're enjoying yourself because you do love these games. That's why you play them. You do love them, and they're also going to give you a balance of at least some engagement. It might not be follows, but you at least get engagement. And that's as a small streamer, that's all you can ask for is engagement to help build yourself.
Absolutely. And then we got one more from Jesus on a Stick who says, your thoughts on G2A?
I don't use them. If you want to use them, more power to you. I personally don't want to take the risk in using G2A.
Yeah, we
have no bad or good things about it.
The Sora Master of Masters was on the last podcast, and his topic actually was the G2A with them selling keys that weren't authorized by the dealer and things like that. So if you want more specifics on it, go listen to last week's podcast. Otherwise, I don't use them either, and I've heard a lot of people, they're kind of going downhill as far as I know, but then there's always going to be people who are looking for that cheap game and don't care where it comes from, whether it hurts the developer or not.
Yeah, it's that risk reward, man. It's just if at that point, why don't you just pirate bay it?
Right, and I guess some of the developers did say we would rather you pirate the game than buy from them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. As far as what I'm playing, you guys pretty much see it. Anytime I get a chance to play games, it's pretty much on stream. So I have my Poke Mondays with Shiny Hunting Let's Go still. Tuesday Trophy Hunts. I'm at the end of Crash 2. I'm almost got the Platinum in Crash 2. Thursdays is my story day. So Kingdom Hearts 3. That I've moved to all of this week. So actually tonight's stream will be finishing Kingdom Hearts 3. I've got less than 2 hours left in it. So that'll be the end of that for me finally. And then Fridays is Jackbox as always. And Saturday is multiplayer day. So I usually play Apex or Mario Kart or whatever anybody wants to play who comes into the stream.
Fair play, man. When you're doing your Kingdom Hearts, man, how are you finding Kingdom Hearts? I gave the first one a go, and it just wasn't for me. But apparently, 2 and 3 really build up better.
I can understand that for sure. I think it ages better for those who grew up actually playing them when they were released. Going back, I went back and played the first 2 before the third one came out, and it was a lot harder to play. The first one especially, just the camera controls are off, and it's just there's just a lot of things like that. The second one definitely builds on the action part of the game and makes it easier and more fun to play. And the third one even more so, a lot of mobility, a lot of action. So I'm having a good time. The one complaint I keep telling people I have about the series in general, and the third one is equally as guilty, is cutscenes. They don't stop the cutscenes. You walk 2 feet and there's a cutscene, and then they get out of the cutscene for you to walk to that doorway, and then there's another cutscene. It's like, why did you stop the cutscene just to give me another cutscene?
Yeah. Just have the cutscene to the door at that point.
And then they're just so long. I swear, when I streamed it on Tuesday, I played for 3 hours, and I can guarantee you an hour of that was cutscenes. It's just crazy, but I enjoy it. You really do have to be a fan of not so much Final Fantasy, because there's not a lot of that aspects in Kingdom Hearts 3 versus the first 2. But Disney, if you're a big fan of Disney, this'll hit the spot for you.
I find Disney's hit or miss for me, but I love Final Fantasy up until 10. Anything under 10, I'm all about that. Anything after 10, I'll class 10 too as 10.
So up to and including 10, or 10 is part of the back end?
Including 10. After 10, it's just, I'm not into it. I don't know, it kind of died for me after 10.
I can semi-agree with you there, because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I did Platinum 10. I was on the way to 10 too, but it didn't happen. 12 is actually the first one I played back on PS2, but I didn't beat. I did say I was okay with 13, but not the 13 sequels. I didn't get into them at all. And then 15 I haven't even tried. I tried the demo. I was like, this isn't Final Fantasy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not played anything past 10 myself. I've kind of stayed off it.
I'm kind of
But
hoping they go back to an old schools type thing. I really should try Octopath Traveler because that looked like a good old
yes,
school.
yes, I also should try that. That looks really good.
Nico says, "What are your thoughts on Overwatch?"
Don't like it. I'm not a big first-person shooter. Not my style. I'm a more medieval nut, and there's not really many medieval shooters out there because kind of don't go hand in hand at all. But I'm not a big fan of Overwatch as a shooter. I'm not a big fan of its player base entirely. I think there's extreme amounts of toxicity in Overwatch. Even if you release a new character, people will lambast it. It's quite a strange community. Overwatch is just extremely toxic. Want nothing to do with that community at all.
I don't have a lot of experience with Overwatch. It wasn't until this last Christmas that I got it, and that's only because people I met on Twitch wanted to play it. So I think I got it for like $15 on Black Friday last year or something. So I do play maybe once a month or once every other month or so, usually with shiny Deminex and whatnot. And I haven't really experienced a lot of toxicity, but I'm not big on those kind of games either. I just play to play with the guys.
Well, that's fair enough.
All right, so that's what we've been playing. So let's move on to the topic of the day, which Ronnie has chosen as horror films. So what specifically did you want to talk about horror films?
Oof. Alright. I was we talked about this earlier today. That it's such a struggle for me to try and pinpoint certain horror, but I think I'll go with some of the, in my opinion, just best horror of all time. I think we'll start with just a granddaddy of everything that's amazing about horror, and that's John Carpenter's The Thing. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not, actually.
With Kurt Russell. Oh my! It is the best sci-fi film of all time. I don't care what anyone says. It's the best sci-fi film of all time. It's one of the best horror films of all time. It's one of the best paranoid films of all time. It's about a Arctic research station,
right?
And they find two Norwegians come to the base chasing a dog, trying to kill it, and they have a fight. And then they go to the Norwegian base to find it burned down and these corpses of these twisted creatures there. And it turns out it's a shape-shifting alien, and it's all about trying to figure out who's been turned into an alien and who's still human. It's such a fantastic piece of film. People are still researching it to this day about theories and stuff like that. It's been over 30 years and people are still researching it. It's amazing. And if you've not watched John Carpenter's The Thing, one of the best films, trust me, it's also the best remake along with Scarface.
But didn't they make a more recent remake? Or am I thinking?
That was a prequel.
A
the
prequel,
Thing
okay.
In the 2011 was a prequel based on the Norwegian base. Unfortunately, that suffers from having CGI.
Yeah.
The original works
practical
so
effects
because it's practical and it is beautiful. It still holds up to this day. Whereas the prequel, well, if you watch the prequel, there's a bit where there's supposed to be an alien, but instead they changed it into these cubes that just spin around, and it's nasty looking. Nasty looking. So yeah, I completely recommend John Carpenter's The Thing. But I'm a lover of horror film history. I love that whole genre. I'm not a big fan of the jump scare. For the jump scare, so you see that in people like Annabelle these days, and
right.
Nun and Conjuring. Like all that is just jump scare horror. It's not, in my opinion, residual. Whereas things like John Carpenter's The Thing, he kind of everything to the music is just so eerie. You look at the 1980s horrors, in particular, their soundtracks are all bloody eerie. Like Amityville Horror's soundtrack is have like these kind of like children larring. It's so unsettling. You got things like Halloween and Friday the 13th. They are iconic scores, and they're all unsettlingly and creepy. The Exorcist is another one. Yeah, that's right, Jesus. That's another one. Although I'm gonna say it, I think The Exorcist was a boring film. I can watch a film back in the day where I watched like Jaws. I watched Jaws with the mindset of being back in the time period it was in. Weren't as a horror scary film, but it was a legitimately unsettling film. I watched The Exorcist with trying to be in the mindset because I had to do research back in the day, like the culture at the time and what was going on at the time, so I could actually get into this, so I can actually study the films properly in their own natural format. It's hardest to do with things like Freaks and stuff like that. 1930s, that was awful to do. Dr. Meligari's Cabinet and stuff like that. Nosferatu. But I thought The Exorcist was very, very bland. What about yourself, Tidus? What's some of your favourite?
It's hard for me to pinpoint because I've seen older horror movies. I've seen the original Halloween and things of that nature, Pet Sematary and whatnot. I'm not generally the biggest fan of them. Not that I'm not scared of them or anything. But horror comedy, it seems to be where I really, really enjoy it. Zombieland, for example. I love Zombieland. There was another one.
You seen the trailer for the second one?
Yes, I saw it the other day. That was going to be in the news coming up later. It's just that if you guys
fair.
haven't seen it, Zombieland 2 trailer dropped either yesterday or the day before yesterday, I think.
Day before yesterday.
So if you were a fan, it's 10 years later. It's coming back. Very much looking forward to that.
It's more of the same.
Yes.
I'll just point that out. It's don't expect anything
Fresh.
else. More of the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you could say I was like, a teensy bit disappointed because I didn't see anything fresh. But then again, that's just a trailer, so it doesn't mean it won't be fun. I'm trying to think of other horror movies that. But generally speaking, since the wife doesn't like to watch them, I don't get a chance to watch any of them, even if I wanted to. What are your thoughts on It?
The new one, I'm not a fan. I think the new one is kind of, it's a slideshow, not a film. It's like, here's one kid, boom, scary time. Here's another kid, boom, scary time. Maybe the part 2 will make it all right. I really enjoyed Tim Curry in the TV series It, the 2-part film It. That was campy comedy fun.
Yeah.
I think Tim Curry did a really perfect job, personally.
He can be creepy.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal. I love Tim Curry. I love him so much. He's such a good actor. It's I got started into horror. God, 1999-ish. Basically in 1997, I believe, at the Sundance Film Festival, Ringu, Spiral, and Audition came into the UK. And those are 3. You've probably definitely all heard of The Ring,
Right?
I'm assuming. Yeah, that's an unsettling watch. The Japanese version, love it. Audition, one of Takeshi Miike's grandum opus. It's so good. You at times you get confused because you think you're watching a love story, but then something happens that really unsettles it, and you kind of like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a horror film. But I remember watching Ringu, Spiral, and Ju-on, which is The Grudge, the Japanese The Grudge, at the time, and I shat myself scared. I wouldn't go to sleep. I would not look at the end of the bed. I would not look under my bed, because in the Grudge film, nowhere's safe, and there's a lady who gets dragged under her bed sheets into nothingness. So I wouldn't even look under my covers, just because of how unsettling it was. And obviously you've all heard, I'm assuming, if you've not heard it, check out the death rattle of the main woman from The Grudge. It's such a chilling sound. But that's what started my love of it, because I got so scared and traumatized by it that I got so infatuated with it. It's a very, very surreal experience to have that. Nico Coca-Cola says, if you could be in any horror film, what would you be in and why? Good lord. Why would I want to be in a horror film?
Right?
I get killed. You seen how I look? I'm an overweight, hairy man. I'm either going to be mistaken for a killer and get shot accidentally, or I'm going to be one of the first to go.
You're not.
I'll be like,
you're not wrong there.
So I don't think I'd want to be in a horror film, really. I mean, if I could be on set if I could like take part of being an actor and be a character. I mean, I can't go wrong with The Thing. I'd love to be a character in The Thing. I'd like to die as a hero, as a human though, not as an alien or get simulated. I'd rather get Clarked and get shot instead. But there's plenty of horror films I'd love to be a character in.
I'm trying to think of older movies now that I'm thinking of it. So, what are your thoughts on? Have you seen? Because they're definitely on the campier side. The Critters series.
I've not seen the Critters. No, I tell a lie. I think I've seen the first Critters, and I just had no affection to it personally.
I don't blame you. It's something I think that I just because I grew up with it. I don't love it or anything, but I don't hate it either. They did like 4 more movies after that, and they just all got more ridiculous. They ended up with like critters in space.
Yes, they did,
as everything ends up in space for some reason. Leprechauns and Freddy and Jason and everything.
Well, not Freddy. Freddy never went to space, did he? I think.
Oh no, Jason X is what I'm thinking of.
Jason X, yeah, Jason X went to space. He just wants his machete back. And that gave you a Mecha Jason, right? That's what we call it, Mecha Jason.
I never saw it. I've actually never seen any of the Friday the 13th films.
Oh, I binged them. I binged all 11 because you have, the remake with Jared Padalecki in it, and obviously Freddy vs. Jason, which was crap until Freddy vs. Jason happened. That was really good. But as Cheezer says here, Children of the Corn. That was I really enjoyed the first Children of the Corn. He who walks behind the rose. Fun fact: that actor who plays, I think it's is it Malachi? Yeah, Malachi. The person who plays him is not a child in that film. He's actually like he's in his 20s at that point, or his 30s even. Just doesn't. He has a condition that makes him age differently. But I loved the first Children of the Corn. Not so much the sequels. That was pains. to get through.
And the last one I can think of that I actually do have a kind of affinity for is the Tremors series. Now, granted, they haven't been getting better with age, as far as the sequels they keep going with. But I do enjoy the first 2, and to an extent the third one quite a bit, just because the comedy horror aspect. I don't know if you've seen the Tremors series or not, or any of them.
That's with Tremors, the one with Kevin Bacon in, right?
Yeah, the first one is. Yeah, that's the only one he did.
Yeah,
and then
I've not seen any others.
They've done, I think, 5 or 6 total movies now. Some of them, the last one I think went straight to Netflix. They did a TV series that had Christopher Lloyd in it.
That's good. Christopher Lloyd's great.
Oh, he is. But yeah, again, it's the horror comedy aspect that I enjoy more than the straight up horror. But
yeah, that's fair.
All right. Anything else horror related you can think of?
Oh well. Sarah Hames in the chat just said you never watched the classic. What would you class as a classic horror film, Sarah? You know,
I think she's referring to me. That's my sister.
Ah, fair enough. Hey, what's going on, Mrs. Well, not Mrs. Shot. That'd be your wife.
No. Sister
no.
Shot.
Only Anita.
You asked another question. Have you ever played Dead by Daylight? And it's I do play Dead by Daylight. My sister does as well, actually.
So, fun fact: I got to play Alpha. Dead by Daylight. And I didn't like it. It was only the one map, and there's only a few characters. I just didn't like the mechanics at all, and I feel like it was just not a game for me. I sent them a message saying I didn't really feel vibe with the game and that, and they didn't get back to me at all. And as soon as the beta came out, that was it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. There's definitely the only reason for me to play it is when I'm playing with other people, and it's just like we're on chat, just like trying to survive and whatnot. Other than that, I mean, the mechanics, like you said, they can be rough. They've gotten better. They've gotten new killers. They reworked some killers. So,
some classic killers now as well. Right? They got like Myers.
They got Myers. They got Freddy. They got Leatherface.
The Saw Pig. Yeah.
Yeah, they got her. And they just had in the Scream kill. Ghostface. They just put in Ghostface. Scream. That is another franchise which I love, by the way.
Sorry, you go first.
No. I just again, it goes back to comedy horror. I don't think they've done a bad film, at least in my opinion. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I never got to watch the TV series that I think they did.
They did a TV series, yeah.
I think, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But otherwise, when they kind of came back with number 4, I was nervous. They're just like, what are they gonna do? Because 3 was fine, just not as great as 1 and 2. So I didn't know how they do with 4, and I think they nailed it. But that's just my opinion.
Well, Scream was pseudo revolutionary in horror film wise, just because it took everything that was known about horror films and put it into one big meta.
I was about to say a big meta.
So it spawned a bunch of semi-lucid horror films from that point onwards, where suddenly the horror landscape suddenly became aware of what to do in a horror film. And you see that through films after that now, where the characters will be a little bit more smarter because they're aware of the horror films and stuff like that. Whereas
Right.
beforehand, you had to assume that there weren't horror films, or they were just films, so you don't pay attention to them. So I do props for that. I still think the original's the best and most unsettling, especially when the revelation comes about.
Yes, I'd agree.
And well, I think is it 2 where there's a scene where she dreams she sees her dead mother at the window. That might be 3, but either way, that was great as well. I thought that was the scariest thing in all of the Scream franchise. That is the scariest part of Scream, when she dreams about her dead mother, in my opinion.
I don't remember that scene specifically. It's been so long, I guess.
I think it is 3, because I think she's dreaming in her own house. But yeah, that was my favorite.
3, she's out at college, right?
That's 2, I think. 2 she's in college, because it ends in the college play area, in the theatre.
Right.
And 3, it's the movie set stuff.
Right. Yes.
She's moved. Yeah. But, Scream was very, very good in rejuvenating a bunch of the horror stuff for Western audiences. Because at that point, Eastern horror was taken off. It was doing well for itself, revolutionized itself with Ringu and Audition, Whispering Corridors they do in Korea, like revolutionizing itself and becoming the most dominant horror of all time. Like East Asian horror, still to this day, is definitively the creepiest, most unsettling in my opinion.
Did you ever see Cabin in the Woods?
I did, yeah. I love Cabin in the Woods. I love it.
I love me some Joss Whedon.
I'm not too big on Whedon. I like his Buffy series and Angel, and Dollhouse was obviously he has a thing with getting cancelled for TV shows.
He does.
Cabin in the Woods, I really enjoyed it because it was just another one of the self-aware films, but it took it to the next level.
Right.
And it's such an interesting ethos and world they've built. And I just love to see more about maybe not a sequel, but a prequel, just to have I wouldn't even say a prequel film, but more like a comic book to go along with it. It'd be great.
Yeah, because there's a lot. It looks like there's a lot of potential history there.
Exactly. Like, how did these things come about? How did they capture these creatures? Where are these creatures captured from? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Cabin in the Woods is great.
That's all I've got for horror. Anything else? What are your thoughts on like newer horror?
Oh, new horror. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some new horror that's come out that's pretty darn good horror-wise. I think the biggest standout right now, in my mind, is probably Hereditary. That is a solid horror. And then you got things like apparently Midsummer. I got the premise of Midsummer and stuff like that. It's okay. It's a little bit unsettling, but that's about it. But stuff like Hereditary had some really good new vibes to it. But for me, it's all about Eastern horror. Stuff like Eastern horror films. That's where the true visceral horror lies. I think Western horror, it's all jump scares now. But they are starting to figure out, okay, people kind of don't want jump scares all the time. So they're doing things like Midsummer, they're doing things like Babadook, they're doing things like Hereditary. Some really interesting new films coming out.
All right. Well, if as always, if anybody in the chat has anything they'd like to add or question or put in, feel free. We're going to switch to the next topic, which I believe we have, is gaming news. So I wasn't a lot prepared for this week.
Thanks to us, mate.
I did have, so there was the Zombieland 2 trailer we talked about.
Yep.
Comic-Con did happen last week, so there was a little bit of stuff from media-wise, and I know you said you're not really big on the Comic-Con front. So for me, the big news came out of it was the MCU Phase 4 stuff. I think it's 5 movies and 5 shows, I believe, coming out in the next 2 years, starting next year, which is nuts to think about.
5 shows.
Yep, they're all going to be on the Disney Plus.
Of course.
So you've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier, you've got the WandaVision, you've got Loki, you've got the What If series, and then I'm missing one and I can't remember what it is. Maybe somebody in chat can tell us, but yeah, there are 5 shows coming out in the 2-year span for Phase 4.
I think Blade's gonna be a series, right?
No, the Blade they confirmed is going to be a movie.
Brilliant.
But it hasn't been confirmed when it's coming out. It's just not coming out before the end of 2021.
You see, I have a question now.
Okay.
Blade is technically owned by Disney now.
Yes.
Are we going to see a blood rave? I want my bloody blood rave.
I don't know, because I can't remember if they discussed whether or not there's a potential for it being R or not. I think they said it was PG-13.
Oh, no. Blade needs to be rated R. Blade needs to be an 18. I'm sorry. It fits perfectly in being a adult film.
I agree with you. The only problem, I think, is that if they made it as a side movie, that'd be one thing. But them making it as part of the MCU, they want everybody to see it. And if they want everybody to see it...
Yeah. Oh, it's going to suck then. They can't put blood in. And in fact, what vampires do? They bloody drink blood.
So they can't... You're saying in PG-13 they can't have blood at all?
I'm saying they're going to die it down a lot.
Well, yeah.
It's Disney in the first place.
Well... And Disney has seemed to leave Marvel alone a lot in the instant. They do what you're gonna do, so I don't think Disney will have an effect necessarily. But it's the getting the kids in to see it that's gonna really affect. Things are gonna be more like inferred as opposed to shown.
Yeah, well, Touchwood it at least has some guts and gore in it because it's supposed to be. It's Blade, for God's sake. He kills vampires gruesomely. He'll also kill humans gruesomely.
Right. We will see at the again. It's like Marshall Ali or something like that. I'm sorry if I however I butchered his name. I'm sure I did. He's a phenomenal actor, and the fact that he wanted the role, he requested the role, actually, and they worked with him to get it. I'm sure he'll be fine in it. How the movie comes about, we'll see. But yes, Mr. Cupcake, there is going to be a new Blade movie. It was the very last thing they kind of announced at the Marvel at the Comic-Con. He came out with the Blade hat on, or not with it on, but he came out and then it's like, hey, guess what?
That was the
boom.
announcement, yeah.
And then you've got the 5 movies: The Black Widow, The Eternals. Oh, Hawkeye. Hawkeye's the 5th show I wasn't thinking of. They're doing the Hawkeye show.
What is Renner in it? Or
Yep.
is it gonna be
No, it's Renner. It's Renner and Kate Bishop. I guess the person who would either eventually become or who he trains.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, the Eternals, Black Widow, they're not Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Black Panther 2.
That's not in Phase 4.
Oh, isn't it?
Nope. They did announce Guardians, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, and Blade, but none of those are Phase 4. Right. They're going beyond that. Now, because Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange. They said that, so I'm trying to remember all the movies now, and I don't know why. Oh, I don't know the name. It's the Chinese guy, Shang something in the 10 Rings.
Yes, yeah. I'm not big into the Marvel, so I'm not really into superhero stuff.
Right.
But obviously, it's such relevant culture nowadays. You can't really not hear about stuff like that.
Jesus, it's not just gaming news. It's gaming, movies, whatever we want to talk about. So, vampires radiate sex and violence. You can't possibly have a PG movie unless it's My Babysitter and it's a vampire.
Or lesbian vampire killers.
Not disagreeing with you, but it probably won't be as good as it could be, but that doesn't mean it'll be bad. But, I mean, that's just me being hopeful, so we'll see.
That's what we can do, man. Just be hopeful.
other than that, there's not a lot that came out of it that I can think of, and not a lot of gaming stuff. I'm looking forward to some games coming out, but that's the next section.
Yeah.
Anything you can think of that's been in the news in the last couple weeks that got you excited? Games, movies, manga?
No,
It's
no,
been
there's
kind
not
of
actually.
slow.
It's been a very slow week. I think most of it in the UK, which is where I'm from, we've been dealing with a heat wave, mate. So that's just fried my brain completely anyway.
I don't blame
So
you. And post E3 and Comic Con, it tends to slow down too. So,
yeah, exactly.
all right. So that'll be it for that for this, and now we'll move on to viewer questions. So, actually, usually I come into what we already talked about. What you're looking forward to in the more immediate future. I'm looking forward to. It's not the best of games, but it's a good game in my opinion. Ghostbusters Remastered. They're doing that. I'm a fan of the franchise. A big fan, and that was my first platinum trophy, was Ghostbusters on the PS3. So I'm very much looking forward to playing it on stream when it comes out on PS4. That and Ni no Kuni Remastered is coming out, and I didn't get a chance to finish that, so that's what I will be playing this fall.
Yeah.
Until Pokemon.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I'm going to be getting a Switch for Pokemon, and at that point, I may be getting Crash Tag Team Racing or Dragon Quest Builder as well, just to see that, because those games kind of interest me, especially Crash Tag Team Racing. I'm going to be playing Spyro in September.
Nice. I platinumed all three of those.
Yeah, that's coming to Steam in September. So I'm going to be playing that for my birthday and stuff like that.
Fun.
And I've been given a game to play on stream for a indie developer that I said I was going to play close to the date. And I'm just going to give him a shout out now, just because, yeah, you know, it's nice to do. It's called Astrolia, and it's a throwback pseudo Pokemon Final Fantasy kind of RPG, where they're very, very, very simplistic graphics, but it has the typical JRPG style with some mechanics with Pokemon fights.
You said that's not out yet?
That's not out yet. It's coming out, I think, end of August, and I'm going to be playing that a few days before release to promote it.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that then. You said Final Fantasy and Pokemon. I was like, huh. That could be a fun game.
I'm hoping it's going to be good. That's what we promoted it as. I gave a look at the trailer and stuff. It could be interesting.
And Sarah the Sparrow says Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yes, that does come out March. I want to say end of March 30th maybe. I will likely be getting that at some point, but I'm having our second child in December, so come then you will be seeing a little bit less of me for a couple of weeks. But I will be back in the grind for that and Final Fantasy VII Remake in March as well.
Yes, that might be something I'll buy as well. Depends. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy VIII. I think that's my favorite Final Fantasy. Against the popular grain.
No,
It's totally not because of their bomb-ass card game. It's totally not.
I very much did enjoy the card game. 8, I'm happy with 7's not my favorite either though. 6, or Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo was just amazing story. How they changed the world after the disaster point midway and whatnot. Just incredible. That and Final Fantasy Tactics. They need to give me a true sequel to Tactics. Someday it's got to happen, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Or at least Tactics with trophies.
Tactics, yeah.
They really redo Tactics with trophies, so I can spend 200 hours platinuming that. Is this live? Yes, it is, Cupcake. How do you think we answer your questions?
I was just messing around in the chat saying it's recorded previously.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It is recorded. Technically, it's recorded. It's recording right now.
It is recording. It will be edited and placed on YouTube later for anybody who doesn't get a chance to see it or wants to go back. So yeah, this is the part where if anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to throw them in. Otherwise, I want to say thank you, Purpleroni, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have you on and get to know you a little bit better.
It's been a pleasure to be here, man. I've enjoyed it. I really have. It's been a lovely little time.
And let me get this out there. So again, if you guys don't follow him, I would highly recommend doing so. He streams usually 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I think. Do you do any weekend streams?
I do. I do tend to do some weekend streams if I'm up to it. I was going to do one today. I thought I'd save. I've got things to do, so I thought I'd save it up and then do this podcast. We do want to talk about the multi, right?
Yes. Okay. So yes, I'll let you do the most talking because I haven't been able to participate in as much as I liked. So go for it.
Well, first, thank you very much, Cupcake. I appreciate that. Saying we love purple.
We do.
I appreciate it. Oh, what do you mean the colour? In which case, fair enough. I am very awkward about approaching people for doing multi streams and stuff like that. Which is in the Pokemon community, you can do multi stream where you shiny hunt together. And because I'm so awkward, I was on stream one day and I couldn't ask anybody. And there's a few streamers in the chat. I tend to have quite a few streamers popping by saying hello, which is really nice and really cool. And I said to him, humble brag, but I said I'm such an awkward guy. Maybe I should just have a massive event where everybody can get to come together to multi together in their own little ways. And they were like, that sounds really good, actually. You should start figuring that stuff out. And so I've come up together with this thing called Multi Mayhem, which is going to take place October 21st to October 27th. And it's basically a week-long event where we play old Pokemon games from Red and Blue to Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. There's over 70 streamers right now involved.
Myself
over
included.
70 Pokemon, including Tidus. 70 Pokemon streamers included so far.
Team Shield.
Sorry?
Team Shield.
Team Shield indeed. Team Shield. Hashtag Team Stinky Swords. If you want to be a part of that, if you're a Pokemon streamer and want to be a part of that, please feel free to message me about that or message Tidus. I'm sure he'll send you to my way.
Indeed.
But basically, it's Team Sword versus Team Shield to build up hype for the new games coming out. We're playing the older games. We're having a little shiny hunting off. It's going to be a lovely little week. So if you're in the Pokemon community or Pokemon streams from that week, definitely go and support the people taking part in that. I have yet to message more people. I'll get to work on. I am so sorry. I am an absolute mess when it comes to contacting people, just because of the anxiety. So if I've not messaged somebody and they want to take part, please just message me or somebody involved.
Oh, you're completely fine. I wish I had time to pre-prep it, but the logos that you got for Team Sword and Team Shield look amazing. I wish I could show that off to people, but if anybody's interested in going or in seeing those, let me know. Yeah, because they look awesome. You got kind of like the old school medieval stuff mixed in with the Pokemon stuff, and it fits your brand very well.
Yeah, well, I wanted to fit my brand. I wanted to fit the Sword and Shield aspect of it, but I also wanted it to be fit with their logos. The blue, obviously, the Sword's blue in the logo, and the Shield's magenta. Like I said, I spent today making them 3D and spinning them around for people if they want to have a 3D option on their overlay instead. Yeah, I think we're going all out with it. I honestly can't believe over 70 people are involved with some pretty big Pokemon streamers involved. Like there's a few partnered Pokemon streamers involved, and then there's people who are not even affiliate yet. So it's literally from the newer streamers, the people who haven't established themselves yet, all the way up to massively partner streamers. You know, we have Ozzy, Natty-chan, Larvae Games, Shiny Collector, Mystic Umbreon. They're all in there. It's crazy. Then you got people who are a little bit lower down, like your boy Fox and Kyle and Spooge, J Boogie. They're all in there, and then you got all walks of life down as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Everything you put together, and we appreciate all the work and stuff you put into it.
Sorry, you got me when I was drinking. I appreciate that, man. Like, it's been stressful. I'm not gonna lie, but I've been enjoying getting it together. It's gonna be an awesome time. I just hope that everybody taking part gets their own little multi going on and nobody gets left out. That's my biggest fear.
Yeah, well, I need to do better on my part in getting out there, because I know my streams are a little bit harder because they're later at night. But I definitely need to reach out. There's got to be somebody out there who streams at similar times. So I'll definitely do what I can to take part. All right, if we don't have any more questions or anything, I will go ahead and just...
Nico Coca-Cola says, how do I overlane it? What do you mean by overlane, Nico?
Obtain maybe? It's a
Oh,
T.
obtain the logos. The PNG logos are in the group Discord already. As for the GIFs, I need to buy Discord Nitro because they are too big to put on normal Discord. So I'm
Wow.
gonna buy that. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that at the end of the week tonight. So I say, put that on my ledger because if you are a streamer and you are earning a little bit of money, you need to ledger that stuff just to be on the safe side. That's one of the things I recommend as a streamer. You keep a record of your ins and outs.
Absolutely.
It will help you out tremendously. But I'll be adding those gifts tonight.
Good to know. So for those interested, I threw all the social links in the side there. YouTube.com/Tidus if you're interested in seeing. This will be live either tonight or tomorrow. I'll get it edited and put out there, and then the previous 6 episodes will always be up as well for interviewing series. We had some fun guests on. Cupcake, I told you you're invited, so let me know when. Twitter, if you want to keep up when I go live, and Discord, if you just want to have discussions and talk games and life and stuff. So, Purple, one more time, where can we all find you?
Just want to say, get in here, Cupcake. Pile on. I love the tap keeper. But we have Purpleroni616, Twitter, Instagram, Purpleroni on YouTube and Twitch. And if you want to join the Discord, my Discord's called The Holdfast, capital T, capital H.
All right. Well, I would thank you once again, Purple, for joining me today. Very much appreciated. I'm going to do a new thing today and have the guest, decide who we're going to raid. But before that, I'm going to cut to the end screen for a couple seconds of silence so I can add that for the video. Then we'll come back to this screen and we'll do all that. So thank you, everybody who joined us, asked questions, and participated. Thank you, Purple, so much for taking the time out of your day to join me here on the podcast. I had fun talking everything.
I as well, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll be right back.